Hey, folks, thank you for joining us. Again, it's Reno News Now, also known as the ADHD Auditor, with
Hello,
our
everybody.
buddy here, Sacramento Community Watch. Today, we're
How's everybody
streaming to
doing?
you from 3 channels. We're streaming from Reno News Now, Sacramento Community Watch, and Xander the Educator's channels. You can catch all their links down in the bottom of our descriptions. Please take a moment to subscribe, like and share basically everything. Please leave a comment. It does help with the analytics. Today we're going to be covering another part of Tyrant Anthony Sotelo, commonly referred to us as Tyrant Tony.
Do you see the color that I am?
And we're basically going to be making him YouTube famous here.
Am I going to be famous too? You're going to put me on your YouTube video?
So please forgive me, folks. I do have a bit of a cold. I'm not feeling well today, so we're going to kind of keep this short today. We're going to be going over the city's witness, who was the car victim in this case, and her testimony. And if we feel up to it, we may get into a bit of my testimony as well here, folks. So just like to add a reminder here, again, a little short stinger of Tyrant Tony and his behavior in front of the Sacramento Community Watch Network here, folks.
Back while I'm trying to investigate.
Oh, I'm good.
So now you're going to be detained, okay?
Why would I be detained?
Because you're being detained. Am I going to be famous too? You're going to put me on your YouTube video?
Of course you will
Awesome.
be. Of course. Deprivation of rights under the color of law.
Do you see the color that I am?
Oh, you know that? You know what that's called, right? That's called prior restraint. Because I need to see you. Because we don't trust you.
He can record all he wants. He's fine. He's protecting my rights.
You got nosy people that just, you know what I mean?
Nosy people?
Yeah.
And then I just want to go over some of the court audio from Tyrant Tony here as well, folks.
Tell me about the first
just to
auditor.
I apologize, folks. It is being a little touchy with me this afternoon. Okay, so this is just some snippets out of the court audio from our first live stream. So if you go, folks, get a chance to go back into our live stream contents and watch the first video or any other videos surrounding this. Seeking Justice for Sacramento Community Watch playlist on Reno News Now will kind of get you up to speed on what we have done and what is going on out there, folks. So we're going to go ahead and play some of the court snippets from our last live stream here that we find relevant.
Yeah, not the first. Tell me about the first auditor. What do you mean by that?
I've dealt with multiple auditors in the past.
What is an auditor?
People that try to exercise their First Amendment right, or they do exercise their First Amendment right. And from my understanding, when they call themselves auditors or police auditors or whatever they call it, they try to bait officers in and try to see if they I don't know, potentially violate their civil rights.
They try to, did I hear you beat officers in?
Bait.
Oh, I see. So that they try to kind of push the limits of their free speech rights.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, so again, folks, he thinks an auditor is basically somebody who's out to get him, who's out to bait him in, who is lying about their First Amendment auditing rights, and he doesn't even know anything like that. So, and mind you, I personally cleaned up the AI text on this myself, so that way we could get better reading of what it says. But when we go back to the original court audio, it's still all AI, so the AI might not match up to the actual words here, folks.
Researching me now, I mean, so then I started getting all kinds of videos of from multiple people, family members, who local people from my parents from Southern California sending me videos that he posted.
Okay.
So that's when I all started clicking in.
And this was all in between when you detained him at 5:30 p.m. and when you wrote your report?
That was actually after that. I had a few days to write my report since it was a citation and have to do it that night.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, so 2 days later, you're writing the report and granted, it comes to mind.
Correct. So we have 7 days to do a citation. So yeah, so it was actually my day off. I was working overtime this day. So when I came back on my Monday, that's when I finished my citation.
And so family sent you videos, and help us understand that.
Yeah, so like I said, I didn't know about these videos until a lot of people started sending them to me after the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was one of those videos of the July interaction, Mr. Reno? Okay. Did you call him a nosy person?
So again, folks, he's crying because this is feelings court. Apparently, he's crying because his family sent him videos of his tyrannical behavior, and they're redressing their grievances with him on a family level.
But you didn't have a problem recording.
The male subject that I had stopped, the female half that he was with, was asking him to stop recording.
Mm-hmm. And how the male half that was detained respond?
He was drunk, and he was also drunk. On his side, he was trying to tell me, hey, that's my sister, or whoever he was with.
And in the video, he said it was his wife or something
Right,
like
girlfriend, yeah.
So he don't even know what's going on. He's just making this stuff as he goes.
Did the male, and I don't want to go too far, did the male subject you had detained, did he respond, he's fine, he's trying to protect my rights?
Yeah.
And in your mind, what is a lawful command issued by an officer?
To stop where I told him to.
And what makes that command lawful?
Yeah, I'm gonna object. He's not.
I'm going to object because he gives out lawful commands. He says it's a lawful command, but he's not an expert that draws legal conclusions.
Are you running something else on a computer or phone? I hear other audio.
Is that you, Xander? That must be him. Okay, so here we go.
It must have been me.
Expert.
But I don't see Sacramento Community Watch.
Well,
Give your best shot.
On the screen?
the lawful command would be.
Yeah, your video's not playing, brother.
It is. It looked like there might have been a second live stream out there on accident. It looked like it was on your channel and on Sacramento's as well. But I got Sacramento's. I think I got Sacramento's screen pulled up here.
I don't think you do.
Oh, I don't. Oh, hold on.
There are two people waiting for Sacramento Community Watch's live stream to start.
Oh, one of them is I'm in
running. Obviously, Reno News Now is running.
Yeah, I'm showing
But Sacramento
Sacramento
Community Watch isn't up.
Yeah, hold on a second here. Let me share my screen. Sorry, folks, while we take care of some technical difficulties here. So, yeah, his is running here.
Mine's is up.
Yeah, yours is up. Go into your studio and see if you got two live streams going, and maybe delete one. The one that's not running. Sorry for the technical glitches, folks. Okay, so we're going to continue what we were doing here.
Investigating some type of crime. I'm giving him a command to stop. Obviously, I wasn't really doing much, and he was just walking by, and that's all fine with me. But at this point, I'm actually investigating a crime. Investigating a crime. Just give him a lawful order to stop.
So, yeah, basically, he thinks because he wears a clown costume or cop clown costume, and he's investigating a crime, anything that comes out of his mouth is a lawful order, which it's not. As we've discussed, folks, a lawful order is any command that they can back up by law. And it just turns out that Tony the Tyrant chose resisting an officer, which is the lowest bar in the state of Nevada to try to go over. But he's going to be having some difficulty because we are appealing that decision, folks. So with all that said, let's go ahead and bring up the...
No idea what the intentions of the First Amendment arguments are.
Correct.
From the point where you first saw him across the street, where he was in Atlantic, to where he eventually...
We're just trying...
Where you detained him. How many yards is that? This optically, this is a little...
So I would say about...
Can you guys see
I
me?
do apologize.
From where he was...
Excuse me?
Can you guys see me?
Yeah,
I can see you, yeah.
barely.
You might want to bring it down just... There you go.
That's better.
And And what we're doing, folks, here is we're just having the last bit of this play from Tyrant Tony here, and then they're going to call their next witness here. So please bear with us.
It was out maybe 40 yards, and then another 25 yards to come across, and then another 40 yards to come.
So he went up 40 yards, came up 20 yards.
Yeah.
And came across 20 and then back down to you, which was another 20?
20, 30 yards, probably more 40 yards, I would say.
All right. It's interesting you brought up the post-training state of mind. So you see him be standing there. It's not in this video, but he's standing there. He's got the.
This is the judge asking questions at this point.
And he's got his right hand down by his side. If he had a weapon in his back pocket.
If he didn't. You got to take that into account, Judge. He did not have a weapon, and he could have softly violated Sacramento's rights and just did a Terry pat down if he was concerned for weapons, because Terry v. Ohio apparently gives them that permission to do so. You know, if he's for officer safety, but at this point, no. Apparently, you were obstructing and resisting.
Damn shame.
Quickly get that out and loving it.
We're gonna get that law struck down.
That you've been training.
1 more 5 seconds.
Boom. Okay, good. Any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
None here, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll stick around.
Your Honor, if we could call Holly Anderson, and can we keep this officer, make him subject to recall?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
They sent Tony the Tyrant out of the courtroom, and they do call him back.
They sent him in the courtroom to talk amongst the witness, even though the judge made it clear not to do that.
And I saw him talking amongst themselves whenever I stepped out, and they just all of a sudden stopped. You know how you person walks into the room when they're talking about him? Just, you know, their traps went shut just as soon as I walked out.
Welcome in, Reno 911. Shout out to Auditing Reno 911.
Put in raise your right hand. In the national name for the court, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been sworn in.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Holly Jean Anderson, Anderson.
And ma'am, where?
And Xander, that is correct. What he said here is, oops. It seems like some of my comments are going missing here for some reason. I'm just going to keep going here, but yeah, the First Amendment is a double-edged sword, folks. You got to use it responsibly.
Where do you live?
I live in South Reno.
Okay. How long have you lived in Reno?
I've been here for about 3 years now.
Now, did you have a vehicle that was stolen in September of 2023?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell me about that?
It was stolen out of the parking garage in the El Dorado Casino on the main level.
Okay. And what type of vehicle was it?
It was a Nissan Sentra, 1984 Nissan.
1984 Nissan Sentra. Wow.
More like a 1912.
You don't have, yes, guys, you do not have to ask for permission to redress your grievances with your government. You know, it's just downright silly. And by the way, I got my comments working now.
Do you remember what day the vehicle was stolen?
I believe it was September 16th.
Okay.
It was reported at the casino.
Was it the 16th or the 17th? It's okay if it's a little off.
It was, I believe it was the 16th, and then it was found on the 18th.
Okay. Okay, so did you see the vehicle again?
Yes, I did.
Okay, tell me about that.
I went to go purchase a car at Lithia Jeep, and I bought a car, and I was driving down the road, and I found it parked on the side of the road, like couple blocks from where it was stolen.
Were you
and good for her, keeping a diligent eye out for her property, because when you file these police reports, if something gets lost or gets stolen from you, or a car gets, car's a little bit easier for them to find because they're all plated and have VIN numbers and everything. But you're going to be your best advocate on getting your stuff recovered yourself. I mean, if you get broken into in your home, your best bet is to search Craigslist and your Facebook marketplaces and things of that nature to try to find your stolen items and then bring it to the police, because the police aren't going to be actively searching for it unless it winds its way into a pawn shop.
surprised to see it?
Yes, very surprised.
When you found it, what did you do?
I told my boyfriend to let me out of the car so that I could run to the car and make sure that somebody didn't get in and take off in it.
Okay. Wait, did you get to the vehicle then?
Yes, I did.
Did you wave down an officer?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember which officer it was?
Mr.
Coaching, Your Honor, coaching.
Sotelo?
Sotelo. I forget how to say Sotelo.
It's kind of hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, I just need to point this out here. I need to bring this up real quick. We have this person in chat who says redress is a noun, not a verb. It's not an action word. But I want to show real quick. Redress, verb, remedy or set right. It's also a noun. So, you know what? It is a verb. So, we can redress our government. So let's just keep going here.
When Officer Sotelo arrived, what did he do?
He asked me about the vehicle, asked me if it was fine, and I said yes. And it was in my boyfriend's name at the time, registered in his name. And I told him it had been stolen 2 days prior.
Okay, and did you tell him you'd go get the keys to get in the
Yes,
trunk?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Where were you standing when this took place?
When I found the car, I was standing right next to the vehicle.
With Sotelo?
Yes,
Okay.
with Mr. Sotelo.
So when Officer Sotelo was looking into the vehicle with a flashlight, what happened?
I saw a gentleman from across the street come over with his phone, and he was videotaping the incident.
Okay, so he was filming you from across the street?
Yes.
NRS 171.1233, guys, look it up.
Was he in the roadway?
Yes. Well, he had walked out a little bit farther. And
Like
then,
into an active lane of travel? Okay.
well, he was coming towards us, and then
Well, before he crossed the street.
before he crossed the street, he was just standing there, and then he walked across the street, one side of the street, and then out the other side of the street where we were standing.
Were you wondering why he was filming you?
Yes, I was. I thought maybe he was somebody that had something to do with the car being stolen.
Did Officer Sotelo tell the gentleman to get out of the road?
Yes, he did.
Did Officer Sotelo tell you that it was legally okay for him to record you? No.
Did you see that guy move after? Did he obey Sotelo's commands when he was told to get off the roadway?
No, he continued to film, and then after a few minutes, he came back around our side of the street and was standing right behind us.
Did you feel comfortable with him filming you?
No.
Did you say that to Officer Sotelo?
What was that?
Nothing.
Yes.
Well, I'll take that off. What happened after you saw the gentleman walking towards you on the same side of the sidewalk?
He got right behind us. He was standing like 5 feet away but that was probably the farthest distance from us where he was standing.
Okay. Was Officer Sotelo telling him to stay back?
Yes, he told him to stay back.
How many times do you know?
A couple of times.
Okay.
A couple of times.
And did this gentleman obey the officer's commands and stop?
No.
Was it a lawful officer's command or?
That's a better question. Yeah.
Right.
Was the officer's command lawful? Do you know that?
Yeah. Why didn't Schumann ask that?
Because I'm sure your lawyer would have objected.
He continued to walk towards you?
Yes.
Did you fear for your safety?
Yes, I wasn't
Here we go. Feelings court.
sure what he was going to do.
Okay. So what did Officer Sotelo do next?
He gave him another warning, and he had to arrest him after that.
Okay. Because he wasn't
complying.
Okay.
Yeah.
With an unlawful order.
Right. They miss that every time.
Let's see. Were you appreciative that Officer Sotelo detained the defendant?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Why?
Wait a minute.
Feelings, misty watercolor feeling. It's just stupid.
Well, I was very uncomfortable. I felt like my rights were being violated.
And they weren't. Okay, folks. Uncomfortable. You don't have a. Expressing one's rights can make people feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry. There's just no way around it. When you exercise your rights, you are going to make people feel uncomfortable. However, uncomfortable does not break the law.
Right.
People's feelings do not break
Period.
the law.
Period.
Facts matter. Feelings don't.
Because I was being found, and I didn't know who stole my car, and I was very upset about all that, you know. And also, I didn't understand what his ankle was, what his premise of the whole situation was.
Okay. How close?
What difference does it make?
Again, if Tony the Tyrant was actually doing his job and saying, "Oh, he's allowed to film me," and it's law that he can film me, it's his constitutional right he can film me.
Right.
It would have probably put all of her fears and concerns away. And if Tony the Tyrant would have done his job, you would have never interacted with him unless he interacted with you first.
That's why I say this.
Bye, girl, bye. Exactly. It's just so
What do you say this
stupid.
guy was to you?
He was like just standing maybe a foot behind me. I'd say when he came back around, he was trying to film the car or something that we were doing there. He was trying to get the whole thing in.
Okay, yeah, no, it's I don't know. I had something I was going to say and my ADD brain just went. So I'm going to just take a moment here to pause and ask folks to please like, share, and subscribe to each of the videos. If you're currently joining us on Sacramento Community Watch, we do now have super stickers. And if you do a super sticker with us, folks, we will feature you at the end of the night in our chats and give you a shout out and thank you as well.
Definitely.
And again, Auditing 911, we do thank you. Shout out to you for joining us tonight. And if you'd like to join in, please let me know in the chat, and I'll try to send you out an email or a link or something.
Okay. And did you want to do a written statement because you felt harassed when the defendant came up and was filming you?
Yes, the officer asked me if I wanted to make a statement, and I said sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I felt. Okay, not the legal definition of harassment, but I felt.
I'll pass the witness room.
Did you ask Officer Sotelo, may I please make a statement, or did he ask you if you'd like to make a statement?
It was both.
Well, which was it?
I said that I had asked him if he wanted me to make a statement, and he said that I could make a statement if I wanted to.
Did you make a statement in the investigation of your vehicle?
In the investigation of my vehicle theft?
The matter that you're actually there for, did you make a statement in the matter of the stolen vehicle?
No.
But you did make a statement in the matter of the arrest of it?
Yes.
Okay. And that was at Officer Sotelo's request?
Yes.
You know, I have to admit, I also wouldn't quite know what to make of someone walking down the street filming things. Help me understand your kind of logic of thinking that maybe he was the involved party.
Oh, I got to hear this.
If I had stolen a car and then left it on the sidewalk, does it make sense that I want to surveil that and kind of, oh, shoot, the cops found my stolen car? Does that make sense?
No, a lot of things don't make sense though in this town. But I honestly did not know what to think of the situation. Why would he be interested in this?
Yeah, well, I'll concede, if I had stolen a car and left it on a public street for whatever reason and then maybe wanted to retrieve it, I would be concerned that the cops had found the car, right? And that would make sense to me, that I would kind of be monitoring my stash.
Your Honor, is that a question?
Does that make sense to you,
Statement?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes, but at the same time, I mean.
Oh, that's gonna hurt! Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Car stolen and I was being filmed.
Okay, well, let's just go one step at a time. I guess what I want to understand is why you thought that someone who maybe had been involved in stealing a vehicle would not only be monitoring it, but then kind of visibly filming activity around it.
Maybe he was trying to warn somebody that they had found the car out front so that he wouldn't come out there and try to get in the car.
That makes sense. I guess does it not make more sense that maybe he would fire off a quick furtive text message as opposed to...
Objection, speculation.
Well, the witness has been speculating this entire time.
Right. And no speculations until now.
And another problem is that my mind is not working right tonight, guys. Again, I do apologize. I've been sick, so we're going to keep going here.
I don't know.
Oh, I remember. Only complete and total morons record themselves in a crime.
Right.
I mean, it's very rare do you ever see somebody going, I'm robbing you. Put them up. Give me everything that's in the register. No, nobody does that. Are you kidding me? Who films their own crime? Except for complete and utter morons.
I was having a very bad day.
It sounds like it, and I don't envy you. Although, I guess maybe you have two cars now. It sounds like you just got one, and then you find this one again. Talk to me real quick. You clearly were made uncomfortable by this filming. Do you expect that when you walk down a public street, you're not subject to being filmed or monitored?
Technically, as far as the law is concerned, I believe to a certain extent we are allowed to do that in public.
You just didn't like it.
No.
And frankly, I wouldn't like it either.
Right.
Did you feel unsafe?
I don't really feel real safe in Reno lately. I mean, I've had my window bashed in, my battery stolen, and my car stolen, and then all this other stuff.
And right next to the cop, though.
Well, yeah, this whole one. She seems like a Lemony Snicket's of a series of unfortunate events. I feel for her. Car window bashed in, battery stolen, car stolen. You know, I get it, but she's there
parking your piece of garbage in the hood.
And honestly, it's probably time for a new car with her too, because usually the older the cars, the easier they are to steal, folks. It's just a matter of fact. Anything in
that era of Honda,
anything from the 80s and 90s are going to be.
You mean from the 60s?
What?
You mean from the 60s, right?
Well, yeah. Anything prior to, I would say, the year 2000 is going to be one of those cars that are going to be targeted, folks. And I'm sure if Auditing Reno 911 is watching, he could let us know what the statistics are, because he deals with cars on a daily basis. So
really, I don't really feel that safe.
You've had a bad run of luck. I'll concede. Was the individual? I don't think we've asked you this question. Was the individual that you observed across the street and then who was detained? Was that the individual? You see that person in the room today?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe an article of clothing on that person?
The day that this happened? Or
No, presently.
A button-up blue shirt.
May the record reflect that Ms. Anderson was referring to the defendant? So reflected. Thank you. Ms. Anderson, when you saw this individual, the defendant, approaching you, did you feel, and I understand you've been through a number of property crimes recently, did you feel physically unsafe as he approached?
Well, I did, as far as his ignoring the officer's command to step back. I thought that was a little bit much.
Did he appear to have a weapon?
I couldn't see if he had a weapon or not because he was standing right behind me with his telephone, and I was looking the other way with the officer standing next to me.
Okay. You didn't keep your eyes on him?
No, because I didn't see him coming up from the other side of the street until he was standing right behind us.
I don't believe that one bit
Right.
because Tony the Tyrant pointed out he was walking across the street.
They were talking about you walking up the street while they were standing there waiting for you to walk up the street. Didn't know he was coming. What a line.
Had you not been discussing that matter with Officer Sotelo that he was going to be coming over?
I didn't think that he was actually going to do it. I thought the guy was leaving after he asked him to leave.
Understood. Nothing further on that.
Yeah.
Nothing on that.
Young lady, you may step down, but please stick around. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor. City arrest.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense would call Jacob Peck.
Oh, apparently I didn't brief that out. Again, folks, I didn't get a very much chance to listen to this.
Your Honor, is it possible to release Miss Anderson? She just worked a night shift.
Are you okay with that?
That is fine.
Okay.
And I don't intend to recall Officer Sotelo for that matter.
Okay, folks, so we're about a half an hour in, so we're going to go ahead and keep going here. I'm only going to keep this to an hour, and we'll probably pick it up later on in a third session next Tuesday. But please do take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels, links to which are in the bottom of the description. Again, anything you guys can do to help us would be greatly appreciated. Just take a moment to hit that like button. It does help with the analytics. And please join us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. as we try to do these live streams and either bring you original Community Watch content or bring you content from other auditors across the world.
All right, come on up to the hot seat, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Oh.
Thank you. And do you reside in the state of Nevada?
Yes, I do.
Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
What's your
Okay, I'm just going to bump this up here because I didn't realize.
To do research under journalistic endeavors.
And regarding that research, have you ever visited the scene where this occurred?
Yes, I have.
I'm just going to put up, we have actually a still shot up here from earlier. Is this a scene that you recognize?
Yes, I do.
Do you notice the timestamp in the upper right?
Yes, I do.
What, in your opinion, does this scene reflect?
This reflects the scene at which Mr. England was recording Officer Sotelo in a stolen vehicle.
And did you, in fact, watch large portions of this body cam footage?
Yes, I watched large portions of the body cam footage as well as Mr. England's footage.
Did you ever go to this scene related to this case?
Yes, I have.
And what did you do there?
Mr. England and I wound up measuring out distances for this court case.
Okay. And when you say measuring out distances, tell me a little bit more about that.
What we were doing.
Okay, just like to point out that the prosecution never went out and measured anything, never did any of that sort of thing. And, you know, it's basically, you know, just what's going, you know, they're just going off of perceived distances at the officer's word and at the victim's word.
Was trying to recreate the scene as best we could, placing certain items and ourselves in positions of the victim, the police officer, and Mr. England himself. And we measured distances using my vehicle as a reference point, as a similar vehicle to the stolen car victims.
Thank you. And can you tell us at a high level what kind of observations you made?
From the observations that I made, Officer Sotelo ordered Mr. England back 32 feet from my best estimation. We bought a 16-foot tape measure, figuring that 10 foot was the golden rule of auditing.
and that 16 would be plenty for our endeavors. It turned out that we were wrong. It turns out that we pretty much maxed out the tape measure about twice. So Officer Sotelo advised Mr. England to stay back 32 feet, and where Mr. England eventually wound up stopping was 16 feet back.
Okay. Thank you for sharing those observations. And at this time, I want to show you a schematic that I have showed the city. Any concerns here? Yeah.
Just for demonstrative purposes?
For demonstrative purposes.
Okay, no objection.
So we do have that. Unfortunately, to play it on my screen would take up a couple screens here. So, I mean, we can try to play it later and show you guys what it looked like.
You said you heard her said no objections to to the 16 feet conclusion.
Yeah.
No objection.
Well, I think she was saying to that slideshow is what she was saying.
Right.
Because they were getting ready to play that little
She agreed
slideshow.
too, then. She agreed.
Yeah, she agreed to the slideshow, yeah.
So using the latest and greatest technology of PowerPoint and fantastic PowerPoint skills, which I am fortunate to possess, created this little mock-up here. Can you describe to me, based on your visit to the scene and my crude animation here, what we might be looking at?
Right. The triangle is going to be Walter England, and the purple dot would be Officer Sotelo. At this particular point in this particular diagram is the location of where Mr. Sotelo advised Mr. England to stop.
And there's a gray.
So I'm gonna go ahead and try to pull it up here, folks, real quick here. Let me share my screen to what we got here. This is the PowerPoint that he was showing on screen.
Okay.
So, and I got it a little bit wrong there. The purple dot was the victim, I believe, and the star or the star here is the officer, and then this triangle here is Sacramento Community Watch, and these two things right here are the light poles, and of course the stolen car. And we're running back to the audio as soon as I get my mouse over there.
Kind of rectangle at the top. What is that?
That rectangle is the stolen car depicted on this animation.
And what about the two suns?
The two suns are actually city lights that we used as reference as well.
Okay. And what if I told you that actually the star of this case, Mr. Sotelo, Officer Sotelo, is in fact the star there?
Oh, yes, Officer Sotelo is the star. My apologies. And the purple dot would be the stolen car victim.
Understood. And so at this time, can you describe, based on your measurements, approximately what the distances are here?
Okay, at this point, between Officer Sotelo and Mr. England, the distance is approximately 32 feet.
Okay. And I'm going to take a step here. Folks are moving around. Can you describe what those movements have been, and then can you tell us what the distances look like?
Sure. Officer Sotelo wound up moving back towards the stolen car. Mr. England moved closer to the building, but still was within 16 feet of the stolen car and Officer Sotelo.
Okay. And just to clarify, in my world, Officer Sotelo is the star, and the victim or the person whose vehicle that belonged to is the purple circle.
Correct.
So I'll just go back one more time. I really want you to appreciate the animation here.
I apologize.
And now I'll take another step further. And what does that depict, that movement of that star toward the triangle?
That star to the triangle depicts Officer Sotelo approaching Mr. England to detain him.
Okay. And now?
So I'm going to go ahead and show that real quick here. If it'll let me play here. Let's go play. Did it take the full screen, guys, or is it what's it showing you? It takes up my whole screen.
I can still see you, but I see the animation going.
Okay, so that's basically what happened is people moved around, and then this is where he went to go detain Sacramento. So we're going to go back here to the video.
Not the first. Tell me about the first auditor. What do you mean by that?
I've dealt with multiple auditors in the past.
Oh, wrong video.
That depicts Officer Sotelo moving Mr.
Computer.
And now?
Officer Sotelo then took a position behind Officer England to talk with the victim.
Okay. And now?
And then let me just kind of go through that as well here. And let me go back to play. Back where you moved forward and he moved back, arrested you, and then he took you over here to sit you down. After that, he went behind you, and the victim played willy-nilly here. And then eventually they talk about your Mama Watch coming in, and that was Mama Watch coming in as that green one. And then there she was ordered to move back, and there we go. So if we're gonna, now that we watched that all the way through, we'll just go ahead and keep playing the audio here, folks.
Green hexagon has appeared in the upper right.
That's correct.
Any recollection of, or any idea what that could be based on your observations of the body?
That would be Mrs. England.
Is that Mr. England's spouse, mother, sister?
That would be Mr. England's mother.
Okay, and where is she coming from?
She's coming from their apartment at the time, which was across the street.
Did she cross their crosswalk?
No, she did not.
How did she cross 2nd Street?
She would be considered, the unlegal term would be jaywalking.
Okay, and then what does she proceed to do?
She then proceeds to cross the street and then is directly in front of the stolen vehicle.
Based on your measurements of the scene, about how far was she from Officer Sotelo when she was standing near the front of the vehicle?
About 4 or 5 feet.
Okay.
At this point.
And what happens based on your observations of the video in terms of an exchange between Mrs. England and Officer Sotelo?
Officer Sotelo and Mrs. England had a conversation about what...
Objection, Honor. Hearsay?
Yeah, that's the same.
Understood. What does Mrs. England do thereafter?
Mrs. England was eventually ordered by Officer Sotelo to move back, at least to the alleyway, and Mrs. England moved back probably another 3 or 4 feet.
At this time, based on your observations of the body cam, does Officer Sotelo, is he engaged in investigating this stolen vehicle?
At this time, no, he has not engaged in inventorying or doing anything with the stolen vehicle.
Not at all.
Was he doing anything when Mrs. England arrived on the scene?
Objection, Your Honor. He has no personal knowledge of this.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious too whether. Just got the qualifications to talk about what an investigation is and what an investigation is not. So if you can clear that up, your experience in that background as far as investigations of crimes, if that's covered.
Yeah, I'm not inquiring into that. I guess here I'll restate that question. So as to the his observations of the body cam, he has observed the body cam,
But he doesn't have any first-hand knowledge, Your Honor.
I'm asking him what he's observed in the footage.
Yeah, but
which is hearsay.
Is hearsay.
Which there's no statement.
There's no exception to hearsay.
No, that's okay. If we can talk about these stars and rectangles and whatever going back and forth, he's more than tight. Thank you.
I just want to point out, for audio purposes, everybody is supposed to be talking into a mic. However, for some reason, the judge is not. I don't know where his mic is, but you can barely pick him up, and it's a disservice to his bench for not talking into the mic.
His microphone was
your observations of the body cam.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was about to say his microphone was out back.
Was Officer Sotelo entering the vehicle?
No, he was not.
Opening doors?
No, he was not.
Containers?
No, he was not.
Logging items he observed?
No, he was not.
He wasn't doing that before Mrs. England arrived?
No, he was not.
Did he have to cease doing that when Mrs. England arrived?
Your Honor, again, objection. He has no first-hand knowledge of
It's the
this.
same.
I have nothing further for you, Mr. Peck. Thank you.
Oh, and just so people know, based upon the conversation I'm about to have with the prosecuting attorney, what's Miss Schumann, I believe. I'm gonna come right out and say it. I'm not a fan. I don't particularly like her, especially in her line of questioning, especially an independent witness. So, but that's just me. That's a personal opinion, and we're gonna keep going here, guys.
All right. I'm going to at some. Well, no, actually, I won't. Okay, just get everything together.
Yeah, get it together.
She has no defense for the distances.
No,
and everything. She has no defense of my testimony, and so she's going to try for the feelings court again here, folks.
You don't like Officer Sotelo, right?
Objection. Relevance.
Well, I mean, it goes to his bias against the officer, whether he's testifying truthfully or not. You don't like Officer Sotelo?
I have no personal interaction with Officer Sotelo, so I have no bias other than what I've seen in video.
So now you don't have any knowledge, but you did on direct.
I have no personal direct interaction with Officer Sotelo, so therefore I could not form a basis on whether or not I have a...
And you have no personal knowledge of this case, right? You weren't there?
I do have some personal knowledge of
You
this
don't.
case.
You weren't there.
I've seen body cam video.
So we've all seen body cam. I know.
So, and we've all seen the tyrannical behavior of this officer, haven't we? You know, she's trying to defame me as a witness. Is basically what she's trying to do here, folks.
Was actually there except for Officer Sotelo, Holly Anderson, and the defendant, correct?
Correct.
Now, you also posted videos about Sotelo, right?
Correct.
And you call him a tyrant.
Yes, ma'am.
Bald, stupid Sotelo.
I have not called him bald or stupid.
Okay, but what else have you called him?
I've only called him tyrant.
Bald, stupid Sotelo.
And
Tyrant,
so
have you
what?
Said he should get a different job?
I may have, yes, based upon his interactions. But
Okay.
that's First Amendment protected speech.
I have a right to address him
that's
any
fine.
way I feel.
Right, and I keep telling him to go apply at Popeyes.
And if he doesn't like it and he does something about it, that's retaliation.
And it's
That's
addressing my
outside of his job description.
It's my First Amendment protected speech. It's my right to redress my grievances of my government,
Right.
and whether or not I like him or not is unimportant. It's whether or not he's doing his job properly, and that's what I'm coming from a professional opinion. I have no feelings against the man personally myself.
You clearly don't like him.
I whether or not I like him is irrelevant. It's a personal, at this point, it's a professional opinion.
Okay, let's talk about your profession. Do you have any degrees or anything
Yes,
to be an
I do.
auditor? What do you
There's
have?
no degrees to be an auditor.
Okay, well, tell me what.
Do you have a degree to be an American citizen? And did they give out degrees to go to church?
Folks, you don't need a degree to become an auditor. You need to have a knowledge of the First Amendment. You have to have some knowledge of law, and you just got to, understand how your rights work, and have a certain level of threshold or where you're willing to take your auditing. And I've discussed this before on the channel before, guys, is my level of threshold is apparently not to get arrested. I do not want to get arrested because of my profession that I'm currently in. I have to protect my job because my job requires me to have licenses in different states that are being monitored by people such as Anthony Sotelo. That's what it is. It's just one of those things. So, I kind of play second line when we do these audits and stuff like that, because that's my personal threshold. Now, Sacramento Community Watch, on the other hand, and Xander the Educator, They take it all the way up to level 10, folks, when they do their audits, if they need to. They're on the front lines. They're willing to apparently take the rest and go through what we're seeing here today, folks.
A certificate?
I have a degree in information systems management.
Okay, you actually graduated from a college?
Yes.
Unaccredited college?
Unaccredited college.
It's not one online that you could just...
Maryville University.
Okay. Do you have your degree?
Now, I want to point out, she said you didn't get one online. Well, what does it matter? It's still a degree. It is still valid. She's just nitpicking me as a witness. And at this point, I want to point out, folks, that Maryville University does do online education as well. However, they are a traditional university. And when I enrolled with them, I went through the traditional path as they were building their online courses. And after I graduated, their online courses started taking off. So please check out my alma mater, Maryville University in St. Louis, Missouri, folks. Maryville.edu.
That you can present here today?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Tell me about auditor training. What does that entail?
Auditor training basically is...
Okay, so I could be an auditor.
Anybody can be an auditor.
Okay.
It's a First Amendment right.
Okay.
Yes, you can be an auditor too, Schumann. In fact, probably anybody can be what you are as well, to be honest.
To be quite honest, there's lawyers out there. I forget the name of the channel that picked him up, but I think it's Guerrilla Media. Apparently, he's a lawyer turned auditor, and this guy wound up catching one of his judges in a bar in the middle of the day, knocking drinks back, and then taking her grandchild and drunk driving with the grandchild. He winds up telling the police this. The police look the other way because she's a judge, and the next thing you know, he's trying to get his bar license taken away because they're harassing him because they published this on YouTube as a First Amendment auditor.
Despicable.
So, to be quite honest, Ms. Schumann, yes, First Amendment auditors can be lawyers. And if you knew your Constitution like your law degree is supposed to dictate, maybe you would understand these things and understand the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, and Fifth Amendment.
Anybody can be an auditor. No specialized training.
No specialized training. No.
Okay, you're not an expert in the law, obviously.
I'm not an expert in law. The best that I had.
And neither are you, obviously, clearly.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
Is some business law with Maryville University.
But you haven't graduated with any law degree, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now this...
Did you?
Well, apparently if she's got that rule.
Did you say a golden rule?
It's what we consider the golden rule of auditing.
Okay, so is it a law?
It's not really a law. It's based upon previous case law and other such information that auditors have gleaned onto over the course of their time doing it through YouTube history.
But not out of this jurisdiction, correct?
Jurisdiction at this point doesn't matter.
Do you want me to?
What is she talking about?
Probably about another half an hour. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I really don't. I mean, she's trying to see if I can give her any information about jurisdiction. Whether or not any of this has been tested into a jurisdiction. To be quite honest, if she had a lick of sense, she would have known that, yes, it may not be in Reno's jurisdiction. It may not be in Nevada's jurisdiction, but Arizona at the federal level, okay, hasn't reached the Supreme Court where it kind of all trickles down yet. But in Arizona, they struck down an 8-foot rule, guys? I want to say an 8-foot rule.
Yeah, it was an 8-foot rule.
It was an 8-foot rule that they got stricken down at a federal level. So her job as a prosecutor as well is to kind of look into the magic crystal ball of, will this get appealed? And if so, what happens? It is basically to decide whether or not, if it does get appealed, is it worth trying to go all the way up through the Nevada Supreme Court and federal Supreme Court on an unconstitutional law?
Oh, it doesn't matter to her.
And it doesn't matter to her because she's still
to the local judge. They've got to win. That's all they care about. That's all that matters. They got their win. When it goes to, they got a conviction. Whether it goes to appeal and they lose an appeal or not, They don't care. They got their conviction. That's all. That's the number that matters to them.
Well, and then they're going to lose that number once it gets appealed.
No, they got that conviction. Just because it was overturned and appealed does not mean they don't count the conviction.
But here's what's going to wind up happening, folks. If this kind of keeps going along the path that it's going along, it could wind up being struck down as an unconstitutional law. And guess what? It's all thanks to Miss Schumann. It's all thanks to Miss Schumann. It's all thanks to Tony the Tyrant, because they're going to view this law, hopefully, in the higher courts as unconstitutionally vague, folks. It's just so unconstitutionally vague.
Explain what jurisdiction means. Okay, the state of Nevada. Is there a 10-foot rule in the state of Nevada?
No.
And there's no 21-foot rule for officer safety either.
Yeah, is there a rule at all, period, Ms. Schumann?
Nope.
Yeah, Ms. Schumann, is there a rule about officer safety distance? Because that's basically what you arrested him on.
Right.
How about the Ninth Circuit, federal court?
Nope.
I'm not too familiar with that, no.
Okay, so this 10-foot golden rule, you don't know if it applies in Nevada. It sounds like it doesn't.
Actually, what it applies to more often is more of a personal safety thing for auditors.
Okay, so it's not really a rule. It's just a policy that you guys abide by?
It is more of a general practice and policy, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sort of like Sotelo when he says that anything that comes out of his mouth as a law enforcement officer during the course of his duties is a lawful command. Sort of like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're along the same lines.
Okay, now these measurements in the PowerPoint, were they the same measurements that you took in a video when you visited the scene? Okay, Your Honor, if I can approach. Where are we on 4?
She's showing me static images now on pieces of paper. And I'm going to point out here that apparently she hasn't had any formal training in photography or media.
I have a couple of exhibits up here.
Oh, we can give those to Martha, Madam Clerk. Thank you, John. So she doesn't beat me if I lose them. Okay. 4, yeah. And 5. Your Honor, if I can approach the witness?
You may.
Let me just make sure we are missing. Can you do this one to a 6?
She's struggling. She's trying to find the right thing to show me, and she can't seem to get it right in her mind.
Your Honor, if I can approach? Okay.
She had to pull papers out of her back pocket and from out of her clutch purse.
And I wish we had these images, but we don't, unfortunately, folks.
Officer, I'm sorry, Mr. Peak. Heck. Okay, so let's start with plaintiff's exhibits, proposed exhibit number 6 and proposed exhibit number 4. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what are they photographs of?
They're photographs of me taking distances with Walter England, trying to recreate the distances from the crime scene.
Okay, and for the record, Your Honor, plaintiff's exhibit 6 is a still shot of 3 minutes 44 seconds of your video. Is that right? And then exhibit 4 is a still shot of 3 minutes 11 seconds of your video.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do these look like accurate representations?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I move to admit the exhibits.
There's no objection, Your Honor.
So going to exhibit, let's start with 6. Let's start with exhibit 6. I'm going to give the judge this so he can see what you're putting them out.
Thoroughly unprepared.
So I'm handing the court exhibits 6 and 4. Okay, so exhibit 6, what does this depict exactly?
This depicts where Walter England was standing, and roughly where I was standing was where Officer Sotelo was located.
Wasn't Sotelo, didn't you say in the video that Sotelo was the cone here, off to the right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these distances that you're coming up with are from Walter England all the way back there, all the way up to the cone there, off to the right-hand side?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that total distance?
That distance right there would have been about 16 feet. We maxed out the tape measure.
Okay. Now going to, and you believe you got this distance from the body cam, right?
Right. The distances we used, we referenced both the body cam and Mr. England's video before Sotelo shut it off.
Okay. And then exhibit 4, you actually measured from where Mr. England was standing that day to the back of that vehicle that he parked there, correct?
Correct.
And you estimated that distance to be 12 feet.
Correct.
Okay, and that, okay, we'll move on to that.
Still over the 10-foot golden rule of auditing, folks. Although it's more of a bronze rule now.
5, are you stipulating to this or do you want me to write that?
I am, yeah, I was just trying to keep track. You said it was like 311 and 344?
Yes.
Okay.
He's trying real hard to get me thrown off as a witness.
Okay. So here we have plaintiff's exhibit 5. What is that picture of?
That's a picture of a synchronization between Walter England's video and Officer Sotelo's body cam.
Okay, did you create that video?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, I move to admit the exhibit, exhibit 5.
No objection.
Okay. So I'm going to hold this up. Trying to figure out the best way to explain this. So you're gauging, so the court has all 3 of these exhibits in front of it.
Which one? Yeah.
So if you look at exhibit 5, and then you compare it to exhibit 4. I'm sorry, exhibit 6. So look at 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
5, 6, okay, perfect. Okay, so if you look in the video of 5 here, you have Officer Sotelo here at the crack, right? The crack in the curve?
Okay.
Okay. But you have him way past the curve here. You have.
Okay, I want to point out, folks, that the piece of paper that she's showing me is showing me a clip from Sacramento Community Watch's video where Officer Sotelo was standing at the back end of the vehicle where you could clearly see the back end of the vehicle and Officer Sotelo, and there's daylight in between. And she's trying to get the distances to where, trying to get me to say that the distance that he was standing at the back of the car was the distance that I should have measured from him being across the street. And mind you, Sacramento Community Watch was not even across the street yet. So, I mean, it's just a bad faith effort on her part.
Have him another 12 feet back here.
Well, at that point, ma'am, I must have referenced a different point in time in the video than what was currently shown on your other reference.
Okay, so had Officer Sotelo been at the curb, which he is here in your friend's video.
Right, because he's across the street at that time.
Then that would have been approximately, we're going off this distance, halfway.
See, but he wasn't across the street. So why are you trying to approximate distance from him being on the ass end of the car when he's across the street?
Right. And does she have the training to be able to, depict that whether or not you're, if what you're saying is liable information or not? And she doesn't have the training to do that.
And she could have had any of the Reno detectives or private or investigators or whoever on the police force go out there and independently verify this information. But did she choose to? No. And would they allow you to have a private investigator to go to get this information through the courts? No. So
he could have got up and did it.
So who was it left to get to? It was us. It was me in Sacramento. We went out and measured the distance. I was there to verify the distances, and that's the reason why I was removed from the media into the witness. So, I mean, again, if they had a problem with the distances, they should have sent their own people out there to figure it out, folks, but they didn't.
Between what you measured here, between Officer.
Well, Xander, you had something to say?
And what's she's trying to talk about the distance that you had between Officer Sotelo and you when you're across the street. What relevance is that?
Exactly.
Who gives a fuck when you're across that's 30, 40 feet? all the way across the street.
But again, I was
about the measurements when they were both on the sidewalk. Because
I was going.
Sotelo was never in the street when Sacramento Community Watch was on the sidewalk.
Exactly.
Period.
And to be honest, guys, I went from the moment that he gave the unlawful command of to stay over there, where people were. I didn't care where he was roaming around in the car like a little butterfly, not doing anything because his ADD was raging because of Sacramento Community Watch.
Excuse me, from England in the back of the car.
Well,
He would have been in the crack here.
the difference is in those videos, ma'am, is one, the photo that you're showing on the other exhibit is Officer Sotelo across the street before Mr. England got across the street. So at that point, Mr. Sotelo could have moved at any point from that video.
So you cherry picked where you would measure it based on the furthest distance Officer Sotelo was from Mr. England? That's
No.
what you based your measurements on?
I based my measurements on about the approximate time Mr. England was right in front of Officer Sotelo.
Because if you look at the body cam, again, if we look at these pictures here, you can.
Okay,
if
so
she would have brought her lazy ass out there and did the measurements herself or hired somebody from the city, we wouldn't even have this problem or this discussion.
And here's where I'm going to get into that she doesn't have any journalistic or videography information in her quiver of information, because at the time, whenever she's asking me and I'm under pressure and I'm being grilled, my mind being neurodivergent doesn't work well under pressure sometimes. So when she was asking me those questions, I knew there was an answer there, but I just couldn't come to the top of my head. And it wasn't until Mr. Edgerton came back and started asking me about those questions again. That's when I got into my head that Sotelo had a fisheye on his body-worn cam. And on my video, I have it on a wide angle lens. So it's pulled out and you can see more and you can get a clearer picture of the entire view frame of reference.
You can see in Officer Sotelo's body cam. I need exhibit over here. This one, thank you. This is plaintiff's exhibit 2, right?
Right.
This is where Sotelo was actually interacting with Mr. England, telling him to get back, right?
Correct.
And you have him measured for exhibit 6 way past the blue wall. There's no blue wall in this picture, correct?
Correct.
Again,
so
fish
you
eye.
have him way further away than he actually is in the still shot of the body cam.
I may have that particular point, but the still shot in the video, we took multiple distances from where this officer Sotelo was.
But this is when the officer had the initial interaction with Mr. England, correct?
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Grasping at straw. Grasping.
Sorry, copies, I have exhibits. Okay.
Keep firing, assholes!
Here, do you want me to explain that? You have all the exhibits. I know it's kind of confusing.
Okay, for her to explain.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's no problem.
Do you want to come up here?
What did you say, Xander?
Said, no, it's not. She's an idiot. None of it's confusing. She's trying to make it confusing because she wants everybody to be mixed up. She's trying to say that you only measured the distances that were advantageous to you. That's wrong. You only measured the distances that were relevant. When at first contact, you were all the way across the frickin' street. He shouldn't have said anything at all.
Right, across 4 lanes. 4 lanes.
And now thinking back to it, where we started it from, and I think we had that discussion before we started the video, Sacramento, was that we started from where he gave the unlawful order for you to stay back.
Right.
So that's where we based the distances off, was the unlawful order.
Sure. So basically, Your Honor, I'm impeaching this witness because he's claiming. So if you look at Sotelo right there with the crack,
yeah.
if you find the crack in his
Trying to
body
impeach
cam,
me as a witness.
the still shot, he's way closer than what they measured. He's like half the distance of what they measured, which would make it approximately 6 feet.
Lie detector determined that was a lie.
Again, 6 feet. Okay, so half the distance, 6 feet. No. She approximately. She doesn't know the exact distance because guess what? She never sent anybody out there to measure. She has no facts.
And guess what? She didn't go out there herself and do it. So I mean,
yeah, they have investigators in her department. She could have sent out a couple of rookies to, a couple of her interns to go out there and measure. Did she choose to? No.
Be approximately 6 feet from the officer going off their measurements.
You know, it's interesting because this is the actual body cam. You've got this blue wall, you've got 2 red whatever coming down.
And again, she's trying to confuse the judge. It sounds like even the judge is confused at this point.
And they're measuring all the way back there. They're saying the cone is Sotelo with the blue wall.
2 red are closer up here than
Right, they're way up here.
Be shy.
Thank you, Honor.
Can I borrow the split screen one that you're using? Can I copy that? Okay.
I need redirect.
Yes, Your Honor, because I think the court wants to give full attention to our lively debate here. Okay, so I understand now they have an opportunity to review this. The crack that's being referred to is this defect in the curb. Mr. Peck, you saw that. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yeah, from the printout I can see that.
Okay, great. And so the city's focused on that, and I won't bring it up on the video here. I'm going to approach you with Exhibit 4, which is the 311 time print. Okay. Now, what do I see you doing relative to Mr. England?
Cajun Randy, yes, it was. This was the bench trial.
Between Mr. England and the back of the car.
And do you recall roughly what the distance was there?
That was, I believe, 10 feet.
Okay. And you're at what part of the vehicle?
I'm at the rear end of the vehicle.
Okay. Now, at this time, you were using your own personal vehicle?
Yes, I was using my own personal vehicle.
Okay. Is it a pickup truck? Is it a?
It's a 2013 Chevy Sonic hatchback.
Okay. So it's some kind of small vehicle?
Yeah, it's a smaller vehicle, yes.
Okay. Based on your observations of vehicles like the one you saw in the body cam, does that seem much longer, much shorter than the vehicle that was at issue?
It was, from the research that I did, it was probably about maybe a foot shorter, the victim's car. Okay. But it was approximately the same size.
And so you were measuring what you understood to be Mr. England's kind of final position as this interaction came to a head.
Correct.
Against the position that you believe that Officer Sotelo had taken up at the rear of the gray vehicle.
Correct. In the other piece of evidence here, they do have Mr. Sotelo visible from across the street at the back end of the car, but when Mr. England approached Mr. Sotelo in the video, Mr. Sotelo was towards the front of the car.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Let me ask you, this picture is definitely not athletics, and I'm just kidding. This picture here where you're standing, this is on Exhibit 6. Do you need me to approach it? Can you see?
I can see that from here.
Is this where Officer Sotelo was situated when he was talking to the defendant and also standing next to Miss Hawley?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, now, this makes no sense, because in this picture here, which is the actual body cam, which is not questioned, Mr. England is well in front of this vertical brick pier.
See, again, she's got because she doesn't understand how a fisheye camera works on a body cam. She's got the judge all twisted and confused about my evidence.
And you've got him a good 20 feet beyond there. You see the difference? You see the error in this?
I'll
Possibly, yes, sir. But I do have to say that
This is totally inaccurate.
I was going off of information that was provided to me by Mr. England at the time that we were out there and looking at the videos as best we could.
Mr. England, you were talking to, not Officer Sotelo, obviously. Okay.
Your Honor, just for the record, can the court clarify what two exhibits are comparing?
It's interesting because on the body cam, you have these vertical brick
columns.
There we go, columns. And in the body cam, the defendant is at the closest brick column, and then Officer Sotelo was in the place that was previously stated, but in the photo presented by the witness here, he's a good 20 feet beyond where the defendant would be as far as the relative distance. If that makes sense.
I'll just try to keep up.
That's fine. Yeah.
So, and just to peek at the back number there, the exhibit number.
This is a 2 and also 6.
So he's saying the walls. He's got him all the way back here.
Right, and so just to clarify, the colloquy I just had with Mr. Peck was comparing the timestamp 311, which I believe states the city's 4, excuse me. City's exhibit 4 should have a timestamp in the bottom left, 3 minutes 11 seconds. It's an helpful 4.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I got 4.
Okay.
But that's his work.
Yes, yeah. But yes, and I just want to make sure I'm keeping up with the court. Timestamp 3 minutes 11 seconds on exhibit 4. Or I can help us out by taking the exhibits.
Yeah.
May I? May I have the exhibits just to make sure
Are we playing 3-card Monte?
So the court's concern is the discrepancy between cities 2.
Yeah, we've got the defendant way back, like 20 feet further back, and actually represented in something that's uncontroverted. That namely is the body cam.
Right, and so what I'm seeing, Your Honor, I don't want to testify. Mr. Peck, I think I understand the court to be concerned about a discrepancy between exhibit 2 in my left hand and 4 in my right hand.
Correct.
Focusing first on Mr. England, in exhibit 2 in my left hand, the body cam picture, what is a landmark that he appears to be adjacent to?
He appears to be adjacent to a window with a brick column or double pane window, or windows of the 2 windows, a brick column and then another window behind him with a bigger brick column sticking out.
Does it appear that there's 2 panes in that glass area?
Yeah.
Horizontally?
Are they referring to the building or the pane of glass that he's slamming up against?
Yes. Yeah. There's like a pane of glass, a brick divider, a double pane of glass, a brick divider, and then I think I can pull it up on Street View here, but yeah, he's basically saying, okay, where is Mr. England standing here and here between the 2 videos? You know, the one that we went and recorded measuring the distances, and we wound up, being spot on in the video between the 2. Again, she's not taking into account fisheye from the body cam.
Yes.
Is he near the middle of the 2 panes?
Yes, he is.
Behind him, how many brick columns do you count before you get to the light pole?
I count 2.
Now,
I count 2.
Now in exhibit 4, how would you describe Mr. England's position?
I describe Mr. England's position between those, just in front of those 2 panes, as in the other picture, and that brick column, where it looks like he's standing in the other picture as well.
And how many brick columns behind Mr. England until you get to the light pole?
2.
Okay. And so in your view, are these 2 images reflecting Mr. England in roughly the same positioning?
Roughly, yes. The discrepancy may be because I used a wider lens to capture the entire street, whereas the body cam is more of a fisheye.
And just to go over one more time, Exhibit 4, where are you positioned?
I am positioned in the back of the car.
And you measured that distance between your position and where Mr. England was approximately
10 feet.
So, Your Honor, just by way of... Yeah, you're with me. All right. Thank you. I have nothing further this time, Your Honor.
No, yeah.
I got it.
So the judge got it too.
No, Your Honor. Oh, wait, let me briefly canvass.
And still convicted me.
Yeah. Well, folks, and that's pretty much the end of my testimony there. And we've probably reached about an hour and 20 minutes now of the live stream. We probably got about maybe, I want to say 20 minutes left over, but we're going to have to save it for another night, folks. We got things we got to do and things of that nature. So I'd like to ask you folks to please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels, Xander the Educator, Sacramento Community Watch, Reno News Now, and the ADHD Auditor. Just so folks know that once we get done with our third live stream where we cover the last bit of this court, we may also pop in some other videos towards the end of the stream to kind of draw it out. So please stick with us. And just to clear up any confusion in the chat room, yes, Sacramento Community Watch was at the end of this video will be he was sentenced on a 30-day jail sentence if he violated the stipulations of a deferred sentence. So he had 365 days to keep his nose clean before, otherwise he was facing 30 days jail time. We went to the appeals court in Washoe County and filed an appeal, and that's where we currently are sitting at this. We'll keep you updated as we continue to seek justice for Sacramento Community Watch. And yes, is there anything else anybody wants to bring up before we close out tonight's live stream?
Just showing everybody, the world, this is our appeal. We put it in, paid for. It's now it's sitting in the Washoe County court system right as we speak.
Yep. And please also check out our GoFundMe for the Sacramento Community Defense Fund. I still need to update the video and some of the descriptions on that, but links are in the descriptions, folks. Again, please like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels. And we do thank you for joining us, and we hope you folks have a wonderful night.
Thank you guys so much.
Peace out.